Hey there, how would you like to discover a proven approach to energy healing and releasing trapped emotions in your body? If so, you've stumbled upon the perfect place today, because I'm going to introduce you to something called the emotion code, which is developed by Dr. Bradley Nelson. Hi, my name is Lydia. I am founder of the MindBodySpiritNetwork.com and host of I have another podcast. I'm host of your weekly dose of higher consciousness podcast, but I'm also host of this podcast, High Vibe Tribe Radio.com, that you'll find on my podcast channel or on YouTube at High Vibe Tribe TV.com. My intention is to consciously create and curate content, events, online courses, content just like this to raise your level of consciousness on a wide variety of topics and help you to be the change you want to see in this world. So one of my intentions recently, I've just changed the format of my podcast and Tribe Radio and TV.com so that I can read to you or share with you online events that are coming up that can really shift you in interesting and unique ways in the realm of mind, body, spirit. So today we're going to talk about an energy healing modality called the emotion code. And what's unique about the Mind Body Spirit Network is that I'm a teacher of consciousness and I understand the map of consciousness, which was developed by Dr. David R. Hawkins and shared in his renowned book, Power versus Force. And it's really understanding that everything in life has energy, and also known as consciousness. So the energy of consciousness within anything and everything can be calibrated as to its level of power or energy or truth in regards to like spiritual truth. And energy healing calibrates at a very high level of consciousness at 340 on the map of consciousness. And why that is significant is because many people could energy medicine or energy healing is all woo-woo and, what the heck's that all about? When in fact, it's been calibrated as to its level of consciousness. 340 on the map, which is 10 to the 340th power. So to put this in context, anything that calibrates below 200 on the map holds no power, it holds no truth, it's downward pulling, destructive, negatively oriented. And this is not a judgment or an opinion, this is just the calibration of the energy of this particular energy field. So the field of energy medicine or energy healing holds a positively oriented, constructed, upward pulling energy field that can actually on the intention of healing the body, healing, emotions, the mind, whatever. So that's why I'm coming here today to share with you this free online event with Dr. Bradley that's called Introducing the Emotion Code, if you've never heard of it. I stumbled upon the emotion code probably a couple of years ago as a subscriber to Gaia TV. So it's Gaia.com. They have 4 segments on the emotion code with Dr. Bradley. I'm like, holy crow, this is a great self-healing tool to really get at the root of what's going on inside of you. Doctors could prescribe, could say, this is what you got, these are the symptoms, this is what you have. But energy healers and alternative, medicine folks understand that there's, and including Louise Hay, who wrote You Can Heal Your Life, there's a greater understanding that beliefs, buried and suppressed emotions create a vibrational field that can cause disease. So that's why I'm sharing this with you today. This is a content of higher consciousness that can actually help you. And there's so much content out there in the world that holds no truth, essentially. It's really feeding you garbage because what's being spoken about or taught holds no real power, energy, and consciousness. It's just, and it's not an opportunity to blame the teacher, right? Because most of us haven't come into this awareness yet. Many teachers think that they know what they're talking about when in fact they may have been taught things that hold no truth. And there's a lower part of us that wants to be right and prove to the world, hey, look at me, I can teach you something, which is fine, but you got to make sure what you're teaching has some truth to it. So when I came into this understanding, I'm like, oh, a great service to the world is Dr. Hawkins' map of consciousness and the ability to calibrate the consciousness of anything. So Dr. Bradley Nelson wrote a book called The Emotion Code. And I belong to a website called consciousnesscalibrations.com. I actually subscribe to it because of my intention and interest to provide content that holds power and truth. So anything above 200 is constructive, upward pulling, and positively oriented. And it doesn't matter really how high it is on the map or not, because each level has its own energy and it serves its own purpose. So Dr. Bradley's book, The Emotion Code, calibrates at 370 on the map of consciousness. And the tagline for the book is How to Release Your Trapped Emotions for Abundant Health, Love, and Happiness. So 370 is a very high level of consciousness. And there's definitely some healing power and powerful truths in the book, as well as in the teachings that are coming up in his upcoming event. He's got a free online event coming. Let me just check the date on that for you. It's coming up on, the live event is coming up on Saturday, November 20th, which is 10 days from this recording, essentially 9 days. But after you register for it, if you miss it, it'll be accessible to anyone who wants to listen to it until December 15th. And then after, during that webinar, you'll have the opportunity to enroll in his course if that's of interest to you. But whether you enroll in the course or not, you're going to learn some really super interesting techniques and understandings from Dr. Nelson in his upcoming event. So I wanted to, the point of me doing these High Vibe Tribe podcasts and video casts is to introduce you to high vibe tribers, teachers that have the expertise, the experience, and the wherewithal of teaching something of higher consciousness, which is what Dr. Bradley Nelson is doing. So I did not memorize the event page description, so I'm just going to read it to you so that, those of you who are driving in the car, the intention is to have it available to you. So you don't, if you don't want to read an email or you don't want to read a blog post, you can have it right here. I'll read it out loud to you. And I share my insights into the topics that I have some awareness about, which I do have some pretty good awareness about energy healing, the emotion code, EFT, emotional freedom technique, and tapping and all that good stuff. So here is the scoop of the event. We all want to feel good, be happy, and enjoy life. I mean, who doesn't? Yet it's part of being human to suffer physical ailments, emotional upheavals, material depletions such as financial woes, and spiritual and soul-related droughts that tap our creative juices and zest for life. Now, if these things aren't addressed, the difficult feelings we generate due to these challenges can get the best of us, escalating over time into chronic illnesses, long-term depression, anxiety disorders, soul loss, and more. Now, as a teacher of consciousness, I understand that when you suppress and repress emotions that we all are taught to do from a very young age because we feel, parents or teachers are kind of making us feel ashamed. I got the phone ringing, so hold tight. Okay, so sorry about that phone interruption. I don't know where I left off. I got involved in a conversation with my sister, who's out in Colorado today while I'm visiting New England. So I'm just going to pick up here. I'll figure it out when I do the editing, but let's get back to the description of the event. So here it says, it's part of being human to suffer physical ailments, emotional upheavals, material depletions such as financial woes, and spiritual and soul-related droughts that tap into our creative juices and zest for life. If these are not addressed, the difficult feelings we generate due to these challenges can get the best of us, escalating over time into chronic illnesses, long-term depressions, anxiety disorders, soul loss, and more. And according to Dr. Bradley Nelson, an internationally renowned medical intuitive, healer, and teacher, unfelt, unacknowledged, and unreleased emotions are at the core of most of our body's imbalances. And in the case of pain, they're behind 90% of the symptoms. So again, Louise Hay, in her book, You Can Heal Your Life, was well aware of this. And she wrote this book, probably 30, 40 years ago and sold millions of copies. So there's tremendous information, and a great encyclopedia of symptoms and understanding is to invest in You Can Heal Your Life by Louise Hay. Also, Dr. David R. Hawkins, who created the map of consciousness and power versus force, was a renowned psychiatrist and had one of the largest psychiatric practices in Manhattan at one point. And he understood human suffering, and he also understood consciousness, and he spent decades of his life studying consciousness and creating the map of consciousness, which is similar type of practice to what Bradley Nelson is doing. He got all of his consciousness calibrations through applied kinesiology, which is also known as muscle testing. So it's interesting to understand, and I teach this in your weekly dose of higher consciousness podcast and videocast, how to let go of emotions buried and suppressed. This is just another technique, and it's a powerful technique for releasing trapped and stuck emotions and getting them and raise your level of consciousness when you remove these blocks to well-being. This is what all of these tools are for, and they're highly effective, each one of them. And you really got to pay attention to what you're drawn to, what feels right for you right now. And when I went through some significant traumatic events, I started off with simple EFT emotional, EFT freedom technique tapping, which is an excellent understanding. And I'll share that in another video, what emotional freedom technique and tapping is, along with emotional release, trauma release stuff. All this energy type of healing is significant as to its level of consciousness and ability to affect change and movement in your own body and auric field and chakra system, as an example. So on Saturday, November 20th, 2021, you can participate in the live event where Dr. Nelson's going to introduce you to the motion code, which is an approach to energy healing that taps into your subconscious to locate and move stuck emotional energies from your body quickly and easily. Again, it's a pretty powerful tool to let the body tell you where the problem is. You don't have to guess. You don't have to wonder. These techniques are going to say, yep, that's where it is. No, that's not what it is. This is what applied kinesiology does, also known as muscle testing, also known as the emotion code. All of these techniques are so powerful for self-healing when you can get to the root cause of anything in your belief system, like beliefs and energy and and feelings are really the cause of pain, not, so that's a whole other topic. So during this inspiring hour of hope and healing, you are going to discover the emotion code, which is, again, an easy yet powerful approach to energy healing or energy medicine that releases trapped emotions and addresses the underlying causes of physical, emotional, and spiritual imbalances. You're going to witness a powerful one-on-one demonstration of how the emotion code can be used to catalyze healing and transformation. This is super fascinating to watch this. It's a pretty simple technique. I originally stumbled upon it on Gaia TV. He has a couple of videos there about the emotion code technique. And then I found a video on YouTube that shows it again that I shared in a blog post on the mindbodyspiritnetwork.com. So he's going to show it here, and I would recommend, if you're interested in this, attending this event, because this is how you're going to be able to get into the class if it is of interest to you. And I would highly recommend this type of curriculum for any type of therapist, alternative, massage therapist, any type of energy healer, or even everyday doctors, everyday nurse practitioners and doctors. This is a great kind of understanding of what's really going on in the body as opposed to strict medical biology, right? This is beyond that, and significant to kind of integrate this into your practices. So during this, you're also going to learn the sway test, which is the simplest method for connecting with your subconscious and zeroing in on blocks to your well-being. Imagine as a practitioner or healer that you learn this technique, and while you're working with your patients or clients, you can get to the root cause of stuff and just have at it, Why guess? Like, why not just get the answer from the body? The body and consciousness knows all. You're also going to discover what a heart wall is, which is ways to find out if you have one, and to dissipate it for optimal health and happiness. Now, many of us experience stuff, even as children, that are traumatizing, that can put up blocks around the wall. It's like the heart chakra is blocked, which is a powerful energy center. And when you block it, you just can't love others, it's just not there. You got to get the energy out, let it go, so that now you can be more balanced in regards to lovingness of yourself and others. And you're going to learn how the emotion code can be used not only to help yourself, but others, including children and animals. He's going to share how this powerful process can help you find and resolve underlying imbalances that may be causing disease, anxiety, and other personal challenges, including relationship issues, PTSD, addiction, self-sabotage, and more. And I was originally introduced to these techniques soon after I experienced some significant traumatic events. And I didn't jump into understanding consciousness or how the mechanism of letting go until after I encountered these particular things, like EFT tapping, the emotional freedom technique, trauma release techniques. There's all kinds of energy-based practices to help release any type of emotion, whether traumatic or not. And Dr. Bradley calls a heart wall, this is what he calls it, is an energetic barrier that prevents us from fully loving ourselves and others and truly enjoying life. And you can learn how you can start to break through this barricade to a better life. You definitely, if you're not feeling loving towards yourself, or you have a hard time loving others, this could be an indication that you've got some type of emotional block, an energy block in your heart chakra, as an example, or any of your chakras. And to get this out of the way is going to be like a huge relief. It's going to lift you into a higher level of consciousness than where you were at prior to this. So this is being put on by the Shift Network, and the Shift Network is, by the way, an affiliate partner of mine. And what that means is when I share an event like this and it leads to you purchasing a course, as an example, we would get paid a commission here at the Mind, Body, Spirit Network. And this is how I support all that I do for you in consciously curating and creating content to help you raise your level of consciousness on a wide variety of topics and be the change you want to be in this world. So that's how we support all that we do here. And it's not about selling stuff. It's about raising your level of consciousness and helping you shift in positive ways. So you can subscribe to this event below. There's some links below wherever you're watching this or listening to this. And if you like what's going on here, I would encourage you to subscribe to our YouTube channel at highvibetribetv.com or on the podcast at highvibetriberadio.com. And if you're interested in understanding the map of consciousness and where true power really exists, you may want to join me on my other podcast, which is your weekly dose of higher consciousness, that you can find on the podcast channel at trumpeteroftruthradio.com or on YouTube at trumpeteroftruhtv.com. This is a huge, like a pioneering understanding when you understand the map of consciousness, because it's a map to where you want to go. And if you understand where you're at, you can look at the map and see where, if you want to go somewhere, how you're going to get there. That's what the map is for. And thank God for Dr. Hawkins to bring it to all of us. So that's today's event share. There'll be lots more coming at you, probably 3 or 4 times a week. I have, stuff comes up. I want to share it with you. You're going to hear it. Look at the title of what's coming into your inbox or popping up when a podcast comes on. There'll be a lot of topics, and not all of them will be for you. So don't unsubscribe. Just, well, you can if you don't like this, but there's so many different types of topics that once a week there's bound to be one that's going to pique your interest, and that's why I really wanted to open up the lines of communication more in this way, because if you're sitting in your car listening or lying in bed watching, you don't have to read and open emails and get, sucked down that hole, that rabbit hole. So my name is Liz Garcia. So great to have you here. Thanks for joining me. I'll see you again soon.